Welcome to the e-commerce leader series podcast. We are the podcast dedicated to helping founders and senior leaders navigate the future of online retail with AI. I'm your host, Bryan Kinghorn, head of growth here at Luca AI. I'm thrilled to be joined by our guest here today. We've got Khosrou Golzad from Zineps. He is the co-founder and CEO of Zineps, a leader in the e-commerce fulfillment space, more of which he'll explain a lot better than me very soon. So, Khosrou, thank you very much for being here. Before we start diving into our main topic of conversation, would you mind just giving our listeners a bit of a background on you and the business?
Sure. Thanks, Bryan. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to join this podcast. Yeah, a little bit background about myself. So my name is Khosrou. I'm from Amsterdam. Started my first business like maybe 5 years ago, which was an online bookings platform. I was a young guy, deep dive into it, pre-AI, building everything ourselves. So, after my graduation, immediately went into entrepreneurship. And yeah, that was a small success. I sold it, but COVID came and everything was a little bit hard. So after that, we started Zineps, and yeah, we are now 3.5 years in. We do millions of shipments through whole Europe and also a little bit starting off through the world. What we basically do is we're building the operating system for global logistics. So, like shipping, we are helping e-commerce brands, but also every shipper you kind of think of to, bring and match to logistics providers on one platform. Of course, I'm going to talk a little bit about more. I love a lot about technology. I read a lot. I love sports. So you can talk with me about anything you want. In a nutshell, that's who I am.
That's the best conversations of these are when they go into all different types of directions. So
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose just to go back to the foundation of the business, what was the sort of the initial gap in the market you saw, or what was the reason that you wanted to get into this space specifically?
Yeah. So what I saw in the market was as follow, really simple. The old model in 2010s and stuff. So what startups did is they came in and they went to a carrier company, for example, DHL, and they said, hey, give me a contract of shipping labels, and then I'm going to resell it to the web shops, to the online stores, and I'm going to add my margins on it, and I'm just going to invoice them, and we have a business. So fine. But what happened was the e-commerce brands needed a lot of more options, cross-border shipping, more options, so a lot of logistics options. At the same time, on this side, a lot of small, medium businesses went coming in, right? That did actually that core business, which is selling, or buying and selling the logistic services from carriers and stuff. So we thought, okay, hey, this is interesting. We are not going to implement the old model, which is buying ourselves shipping labels, for example, and selling it to the merchants. What we're going to do is we bring logistics service providers, as we call it, together with shippers. You can think shippers as e-commerce brand, drop shippers, but also B2B shippers, SME shippers. We bring them together because they need each other, and we build the infrastructure for it so they can grow, scale internationally, right? That was the basic idea. It was a pretty big vision. Why? Because, you are building something like an infrastructure company, which is really hard to do. But I managed to bring up a really capable team. Everybody's experienced in those world, logistics world, e-commerce world. They saw the vision. They saw the gap. They were like, okay, let's build this together. Well, the first of the months and the first year was actually experimenting if this, is going to work. Yeah. But when we saw it, we have now a lot of logistics providers on our platform, tens of logistics providers, but also thousands of merchants. And we bring them together on one infrastructure so they can just grow both at the same time. And we are calling ourselves the operating system infrastructure for the whole shipping/logistics world. That's how the idea began, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So as you know, I said earlier, I own a brand. So how could Zineps help my brand? Is that in regards to, we do all of our own fulfillment at the moment? So would that be help us do our whole fulfillment setup? Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So imagine, right, for you as a brand owner, as an e-commerce owner, it's important to grow, right? Grow means you need to be able to send through all the countries seamlessly, right? With affordable prices, with an affordable partner that helps you to grow with that. Not only we bring that to the table, so we have a lot of logistics service providers as partners. We can give you the best options, shipping options, logistics options to send anywhere in the world. Not only that, but also the right tools for you to make it easy to do that. For example, if you are growing and you want to send to Poland, right, which is of course a pain in the ass, because you need to think about the custom forums, you need to think about other things and the price, and it's you don't want to think about that. You just want to click a couple of buttons and you need to be able to send to Poland. So we have 3 weeks ago, we had a brand named Berker was joining our platform. They wanted to ship to Ukraine, but it's a lot of pain in the ass to fix those logistics, contract shipping. So, but with us, they just could do it. So yeah, for us, is that the main point which we are solving, and we want to do that on a global scale, right? So if you build one network of logistics of shipping on for the whole world, imagine what kind of opportunity you unlock, right? So for small brands, they can just ship through the whole world, and the only thing that they need to do, they need to focus on their marketing. That's it. Yeah. Which is, people, by the way, they want to do that. They want just only focus. So the e-commerce brand, they want to focus on their growth and marketing, and not the freaking shipping and logistics. They don't want to think about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. I totally agree. And it's good to hear that there's people like you out there that enjoy that side of it and are happy to take 100%. Care of it.
Yeah. 100% for your image. It's we are now like moving $100 millions of goods and services out every month. So I call it like the economy is based on movement. If something doesn't arrive on time, for example, a hospital doesn't get on time their suppliers or whatever, the whole supply chain of the world is moving. And I like to think about that a little bit, like we are contributing to that, to have web, right? We make sure nothing stands still. So that's how I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way of thinking about it. So I suppose then, so moving on slightly, I'm assuming that, it hasn't been a plain, simple journey from where you started to get to where you are now. It never is. So, if you look back over the history of the business so far, where have been some of the challenges, and how have you overcome some of them challenges? And then, because obviously we're an AI podcast, have any of those challenges been resolved by AI?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I can mention like 1,000 things, and I truly mean it. So the thing is, we were bootstrapped at the beginning, which is one of the hardest things to do, but because we didn't have a product market fit, we just, we didn't want to be another, we call it broker, a broker model, which is you buy and sell shipping labels on a platform. We didn't want to do it. There's a lot of companies who does that, especially in the Netherlands, all mediocre brands that just want to make some money is fine. But we literally we worked maybe the first 1.5 years, try to solve the problems that we saw, right? So it was really trying to just log in, didn't pay ourselves anything, and build and look what works, what does not work, how we know that it's working, talking to users every day, right? Because the temptation was to build a Me Too product, right? Like the Amazon founder calls it a Me Too product. The temptation was high because we could have made some money, but we deliberately choose not to do it. We said, listen, if we want to do something, we need to do something really that it's fitting, solving some kind of problem in this world. And we kind of accidentally came across that problem, and then we started also building it. It took some months, and then validating it took also some months, and then eventually we saw, holy shit, it's working. Now, coming to the question, how did AI help us? Oh my God. If AI didn't exist, we never could have pulled this off.
Yeah.
Because the cost went 100 times, the cost decreased 100 times. Why? Because you could have experimented now much faster, right? Pre-AI times, you need to raise €800,000 for an MVP.
Yeah.
Now we could have just unleashed agents and experiment within weeks.
Yeah.
So it was crazy, and it was at the right time, at the right moment. So we could have experimented, or else we'll be dead from day 3. And not only that, but also AI implementing it also in our industry, which we have a really solid roadmap. And yeah, we have, and I saw like an opportunity that is way beyond my any imagination, which is $100 billion untapped market, right? I cannot talk a lot about the product roadmap, but so not only in our productivity we used AI, which was a game changer, but also in our product roadmap, which we are slowly now building it. So it really saved us. And I kind of was hoping that it was coming faster, right? But yeah, it was a game changer, no doubt.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear, and it has, yeah. Well, there's more things I'm going to come on to in regards to cost savings and stuff like that. But I suppose my next question would be like specifically on growth of your business. Obviously, there's lots of different ways AI can help. You touched on some of them before we started recording, but give me a recent example of how you've used AI to help grow the business. So whether that's marketing, sales, like what, anything recent example of that.
Yeah, that's really, really simple. By the way, we are still implementing at full speed AI into our growth, right? Into our sales and our marketing. So it's a tip of the iceberg, what is coming. But yeah, in terms of like, if you think about it, so we know our funnels, we know our target audience, but we just we didn't have the resources to hire a lot of people, right? A lot of people. So what we did was we changed our minds, like, okay, how can we implement AI that we basically can implement and they do the work. So we thought, okay, we know who's our audience, we know who is our customers. Okay, let's now deploy agents to do the task for us, but with a human in the loop, right? So I can tell a lot of, we have now an agent. It's called the blog agent, which is only focusing primarily on organic growth. So all the automations, like, okay, build up a blog, set us through it, we're going to review it, and then again and again and again. So that's one, but we have like 20 of it, right? So there a lot of, again, automation which we like it because we don't need to hire people, right? And if we hire, then we just hire it as an orchestrator, as a reviewer, as a human in the loop. So again, this is crazy because the agentic system, they don't sleep, they don't rest, right? Basically, I'm telling all the guys in my team, like, hey, you need to spend more money on tokens, dude. You don't need to save. You need to spend more because it needs to this is one life of a generation opportunity. So we are fully deploying that, still learning, by the way, learning, like, how can we go to the next level in terms of growth and marketing, because you don't want to publish slop, right? Yeah. But it is amazing. It is amazing. The results are amazing. Yeah.
So on the team aspect, then, you've mentioned that you've got a team, but your team is obviously a lot smaller than it could have been. So talk a bit more about that. What do you think the team would have needed to be, and that can be headcount wise, to do what you're achieving now if you didn't have
crazy. It's just crazy. I don't know if I could have pulled it off. Because in order to do that, I needed to like maybe 100 people. It's just crazy. I don't know. Eric Schmidt from Google. So he said one beautiful quote. He said, AI is really undervalued or underrated. Like I think he said it is so insane because people doesn't want to believe it because it's moving so fast, which even I was in shock, right? So what I mean by that is, if you think about it right now, what we are doing, if we must do it without AI, it would just not be possible. Even if you had the resource, because you still needed to hire, and which costs time. So it's like crazy, And I can't imagine, because it's also growing, so it's improving. I can imagine what we can do after 2 months.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy, right? And I see it on everybody's productivity. And like even though with the slides, we're not making our presentation slides ourselves anymore, which is already saving our hours of time. So I think it is one of a lifetime, one of in a generation lifetime. So we can do with a small team, we can do unbelievable things. Sam Altman from OpenAI said it also. He said right now is the time for $1 billion company, which is a little bit extreme, but I swear to God, I think that is coming.
Yeah.
If you have a genius who is like unbelievable, who has an unbelievable work ethic, and he has a insane laptop, and some tokens, he can just do amazing thing with one person.
Yeah.
So that's amazing to see. It's crazy.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it is. It's an unbelievable world that we're living in.
So exactly.
In regards to you as a CEO of the business, obviously you need to make, you need to make a variety of decisions, lots of decisions, but very small decisions and some critical decisions. And everything in between. How are you using AI to help make some of these decisions?
Oh man, I use every system. So I don't care if it's Chinese, if it's Americans, I just use every system that exists. Okay. So what I do is usually, so I love mental models. I don't know if you know Charlie Munger from Berkshire Hathaway. I love mental models, right? So mental models is like a filter in your mind, which creates a structure, even if you're tired or if you're biased. We are humans, we have emotions. But if you have a mental model that corrects you in terms of decision making, it's really powerful. So what I did, I know my competencies, I know my weaknesses. I was like, okay, I need to make like maybe 10 agents on every competence, right? For example, decision making, for example, fact checking, rethinking, you name it. For every basically mental model, I created an agent. So right now, if I need to make a critical decisions, Jeff Bezos was talking about one-way door decision versus two-day door decisions. So if a decision is critically important and you can't come back, those kind of decision, I drop it into my agentic mental models. So all the AIs basically, which is around 6, they're gonna analyze it and then pass it through the other. He has also analyzed. At the end, I have just an answer, which is literally like the extension of my thoughts without spending a lot of mental energy. So you were talking about CEOs, because CEO is just making decisions, right? So if I'm tired and I need to like think a lot about every decision, man, I'm just done. Maybe I don't know how Elon Musk does it, but for me, like, it's crazy. It's because especially in this phase. So this systems, all these agentic systems helps me is insane, because it's an extension of me. Also, by the way, they learn now also because they have memory cache, so they learn much faster. And the only thing that I need to do is just, okay, I take those feedback and I'm like, oh, this is me, this is correct, this is rational, let's do it.
Yeah.
So what I'm about to say, what I actually mean is you really now can outsource intelligence. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. You still can't outsource creativity, although we can discuss about that, but you just can say, okay, hey, think through this, and give them some rules. And I would like to say AI democratized intelligence, which is crazy.
Yeah. And how are you, what particular tools are you using? I'd imagine you're using lots of different tools based on the conversation so far. But on, specifically on, again, just diving deeper on some of that decision-making stuff. Obviously, lots of the decision-making stuff is based on data that we already have, and dashboards and reports and all these different things that we've got available to us as founders and CEOs. So how are you, or which tools are you using to help analyze some of this wide variety of data that we've got out there to help you make some of those decisions?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. So first of all the data, operational data like finance and growth and MRR, etc. Of course, we have tools like HubSpot, Claude and ChatGPT and Cursor and you name it, which is data, raw data, right? So I work with MCP servers to connect it and give me real data. So from one, I spin up Claude, I use everything, GPT, and then I can extract and fetch all the data real time and then ask about it. So that's my data side, right? I have one display, one dashboard, which gives me access to all the data in the whole organization. We work with every MCP that's available. I don't want to go into separate tabs anymore. I don't want to open up apps. That's 2010s. That's just that. The people that does this, the CEOs that does this, they don't have a good future. So I'm just talking to one agent, has all the MCPs, all the access to all the tools. That's basically on the operational data, right? On the business. Now, like I said, decision making, which is crucially important. I have a whole separate systems, which is, I did my best to, give all the mental models that all the smart people already, wrote it, like Naval, Charlie Munger, like I basically giving it and then give my personality, my character in order to, give this AI a really good representation of yourself. So I managed to, for every mental model, I just spin up a dedicated agent. So for example, if I need to make a decision on a finance or I need to make a decision about an investor or whatever, you see me like basically talking through my mental model agents. It's crazy. So it's actually basically you have Charlie Munger, who's dead, but you have Charlie Munger and you have all the guys that were legendary. You have it now in front of you.
Yeah.
There is a one clip about Steve Jobs. He was, I think, 28 years old, who flew to Sweden, and he gave a presentation. He was a young guy, looking good. He gave a presentation, and he stood up and he talked something about, hey, guys, Alexander the Great's tutors was Aristotle. So tutor was Aristotle, and everybody laughed. He said, I'm immensely jealous because he said, right now we don't have a machine to talk to Aristotle, but in the future they will come.
Yeah.
And right now I can basically talk to Aristotle. If I say to my agents, go and find every information out there about Aristotle, you basically have a extension of Aristotle which you can talk to. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm just gathering all the wisdom of Charlie Munger, all the great CEOs, and then making my own mental models and talk to it, through it, reason through it every day.
Yeah, cool. And so obviously that you're using lots of different things. You're very adept at utilizing AI in your business. But if you were to be in the room right now with another CEO that maybe isn't quite as up to speed as you with AI, what would be your sort of biggest piece of advice to that person to help them leverage AI for growth?
Oh, that's really hard. Why am I saying that? Is because how do I say it? It's the biggest advice will be like take no advice. What I mean by that is if you don't need to just make sure you understand it. Like what is, just go play with it, right? Yeah. Don't be like those old school dudes. I don't mean age. I mean in the mindset, right? So because it is happening, dude. It is happening. It's not a freaking like a fantasy. It is happening. So I have a quote about ancient Greece quote. It says, I don't know, it was Socrates or whatever. He said, the sooner you accept the truth, that's the more advantage you have.
Yeah.
So it is because if the CEOs knows it, but they kind of like, hey, I don't have time, or I'm this and that. So basically, take no advice, play with it, see yourself, and then you will be amazed.
Yeah,
you will be amazed. I can tell you all about it. Sam Altman can tell you all about it. Elon Musk tell you all about it. It doesn't help until you see the magic happening, until you play with it, right? Until you feel it, and then you were like, holy smoke, this is real, man. I need to level up, or else I'm gonna just be dead.
No, absolutely. Great advice. So looking ahead then to, Zineps' future over the next few years, where do you see the business getting to over the next, say, 3 years? And obviously, how does AI play a part? I know it'll be integral, but talk about where you see the business going in the next few years.
Yeah. In terms of the wave, right? I think in my eyes, in my opinion, I think the biggest wave in our industry, in our sector, will be agentic commerce.
Yeah.
So Stripe and OpenAI launched an initiative and an open protocol. It's called Agentic Commerce Protocol, which is basically the equivalent of SMTP, but for commerce, which means agents can now, negotiate with each other, buy from each other, talk to each other on a commerce front. So my God, so imagine, because everybody that's now shopping and buying stuff, they're kind of biased. They just don't have all the time, and it's already exploding growth. But in the future, or it's already coming, by the way, agents will be, they will have the right infrastructure to buy on behalf of people and negotiate and do business. So that means, like, literally the economy and the whole business sector will be 24/7.
Yeah.
So that means, what does it mean? The commerce will be 10x, maybe 100x. So it means buying better and will be cheaper. And it means, so it basically, what this means for us is the commerce, growth will be exploding like crazy. And we have an unbelievable solid roadmap to tap in onto that opportunity, to capitalize on it. If we do it right, which is of course execution question, right? If we do it right and we do all the things right that we just said, and I think it's all in our head, it is a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Yeah.
Well, it'll be good. Interesting to see how much of a percentage you get of that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, Khos, it's been absolutely incredible talking to you. Thanks so much for sharing your wisdom. It's been really interesting to hear. Where is the best place for our listeners to hear more from you, the business? Like, where should they follow you and things?
Sure. So I'm not on all social media platforms. I do post a lot on X. So follow me on Khos, Khos Done, Khos Done, and like done. And you can follow me there. And of course, if you want to add me on LinkedIn, Khosrou, which is the fully name, Bryan can put it under the screen.
Yeah.
And you can add me and share me your valuable stories if you have to connect with me. So also thank you for having me, Bryan. And also cool what you guys are doing with Luca AI. So shout out to you guys too.
Thank you. Well, Khos, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the e-commerce leader series. Thank you for a fantastic conversation, and we'll see all our listeners next time.
Perfect. Thank you, Bryan.